Fellow Resident Evil fans, it's finally happening. We're officially getting a remake of Resident Evil 2. After all of the fan asking and begging and responding to Capcom and giving them feedback, Capcom and a Resident Evil producer have confirmed that they are starting a remake. It's finally happening, and I can't wait. This is something I've wanted ever since we got the original Resident Evil remake. We did it, guys. Cheers. Oh yeah. Hey guys, Jake Baldino for gameranx.com here. Pardon my rampant excitement, but I am just really hyped about this news. Capcom announced this remake to Resident Evil 2 on their official YouTube channel, with a video featuring producer Yoshiaki Hirabayashi talking about the immense support and thanks he has for fans of the series, and that he has successfully pitched and Capcom has approved a remake of Resident Evil 2. And they're moving forward with it. But that's all we have. He also said that we're not going to get any news from it anytime soon. But I don't care, because now we can speculate and just think about how awesome this could potentially be. Also, it could be a huge disastrous fuck-up, so please don't let that happen. But just think about this. Think about how long we've been waiting. In 1998, Resident Evil 2 released, and then in 2003, we got a port of Resident Evil 2 to GameCube, which was just the same exact classic version, not upgraded like Resident Evil or Resident Evil 0. But now Resident Evil 2 is finally getting its time in the sun, and personally, it's my favorite game in the series. As much as I grew up with the beloved original Resident Evil, which of course kickstarted the series, I think Resident Evil 2 really set the tone for what Resident Evil really was. It brought in the more over-the-top elements, it fleshed out Umbrella Corp, it made things ridiculous, and introduced great new monsters and scientific abominations that the series is really known for to this day. And of course it gave us Leon S. Kennedy, who was basically a carbon copy of Leonardo DiCaprio at the time, but proved to be more badass in Resident Evil 4. I'm curious to see if they're going to translate that back over to Resident Evil 2 and make him a little cooler and a little more likable. I don't know what they're going to change. And then if I think about it on the other hand, do we want them to change anything? It's the same questions being raised with the Final Fantasy VII remake. They can make massive overhauls to the gameplay, fundamental changes to the story or characters to improve things or whatever. But it comes down to what Capcom wants to do with the property. Do we want a carbon copy remake of the original, or do we want a reinterpretation that's fun and respects the original and puts it in a new light? Personally, I just think if they took Resident Evil 2 and gave it better graphics, it would be amazing. Just think of the scope of Resident Evil 2 compared to the original Resident Evil. This was the first Resident Evil game with a city in peril, an entire city taken over by a zombie infestation, which in 1998, that was pretty insane. But now we've seen that type of thing a dime a dozen, and we've seen it in a million more Resident Evil games, so I'm wondering how Capcom can really make it stand out. Do they even really need to? I don't know. I think Resident Evil 2's tone and mystery and just how it handled that whole situation was really awesome. If you guys can't tell, I really like Resident Evil 2. But I do want to know what you guys think down in the comments below, because there's a lot to pick apart with this. What do you guys want to see in a Resident Evil 2 remake? What changes do you want to be made? Just from fundamental gameplay changes to cutscene or story situations? There are some awkward things towards the end of the game that I think could have been presented a little better. Most notably in the underground Umbrella Laboratory. You know, playing it in my older age, I've realized that there are some things where it seems like they cut corners and the pacing moved a little faster, so maybe they could clean that up. But that's just an example for me. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm going to be talking about all this and more on the Friday news show that we're starting to put out every week that we still don't have a name for. So definitely be sure to check back for that, especially because we're going to start doing giveaways on those videos very soon. And speaking of giveaways, we're planning something huge for our 500,000 subscriber giveaway. So definitely check that out, and you should subscribe if you're new, because we do videos every single day. Of course, you can also follow me on Twitter at Jake Baldino if you want to talk about Resident Evil with me, because I could do that all day. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.